back to Pumped on Life podcast, and this one's a very special one. We're bringing on our first ever guest. We didn't, and me and Rachel, we didn't know we were going to bring on guests, but we make it happen. So, as I'm sitting right next to me over here is one of my best friends, mentors, Bob Brenner. He was actually on Extreme Weight Loss a season before me, and so we just thought we'd have him on here. He's wrote 2 books. He's an author of 2 books. Me and him have done many coaching things together where we've started our own coaching 12-week programs. Yep. We did a thing called Destination Boot Camp together, where that's really where we bonded and became really good friends. Brothers. But at first, and Bob also has a chapter in my book. And I think you talk about it in the book.
I do.
Bob, at first, didn't like me, kind of like Chris and Heidi thought I was a phony too. Bob thought I was a phony too, but not like a necessarily phony.
No,
but just used to the, yeah. So,
I thought you were soft.
Yeah, but he quickly found out. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but I love this guy. He's taught me so much in life. Constant mentor, constantly helps me get better all the time. And we just have him on here today because he went through his own transformation too and overcoming what he's overcome. And he's going to talk a lot about, I don't want to steal his thunder, but like injuries and stuff. And like, after you hear what he's gone through, there's going to be no excuse, period.
Yeah, today's episode is talking about injuries. It's talking about how do you overcome, how do you still reach your goals when you have injuries? I mean, I think that's something a lot of people connect to, right?
Right.
Yeah. But we got to start off with a quote. So what is it?
The quote is this: be an active participant in your own rescue. And I just think it's super important, and it's a big part of transformation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
All right. So we want to hear from you. What's your story?
Right. So my name is Bob Brenner. I'm a retired police officer. I was on season 3 of Extreme Weight Loss. During my 1 year of transformation, I lost 253 pounds, and it was quite the show. And it's interesting because a lot of these, reality TV weight loss shows, there's so much drama and so much stuff that comes involved in it. And mine from the beginning, when I sat down with Chris and he's like, "Hey, Bob, what do you think your episode is going to be about?" And I said, "I don't know, you tell me." And he said, "Well, it's about perseverance. Because you have a really stable life, you have, wonderful children, a great wife, a good base, hopefully a good head on my shoulders from being in law enforcement. But really it was about perseverance because I get into my first, on the show, Extreme Weight Loss, there's a fight or flight part where you work out with Chris and he pushes you not only physically, but he pushes you mentally. So as I was going through that fight or flight workout, I hurt my knee. I tore my ACL for the second time. I tore my meniscus. I thought my whole transformation was over. And I had a decision to make. Chris came to me. We were at the hotel after I received an MRI, and he said, "Well, what do you think, Bob? You can come back next year." And I said, "No, this is not going to set me back from doing and accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish." So I continued with the show. A month later, I tore the meniscus in my right knee, and I had to really make another decision, like, do I continue through this process? And so I made the decision that there is no way that I was going to allow injuries to get into, get in my way of transforming.
Bob, my question on that is like, because I know we've done this 1,000 times, right? And a lot of people that are out there listening are probably like, oh, they've had their injuries and everything else. What was it like where you were like, okay, I can use this for another excuse of like, okay, wait another year. Right. Why was it that time that like you were like done? Like you were just like, this is it and I'm going. Because I think that's one of the biggest messages that people need to know is like, it's never a perfect time.
Right.
So.
Well, I got 2 things for you. So the first thing would be, I came to the point where enough was enough. Like there's no way that I was not going to do this because I was so tired in my life of living the life that I was leading. I was on the sidelines. I'm a former athlete. I played college football. Yeah. I was in wrestling, track, baseball, basketball, growing up. And then, secondly, at the end of the day, throughout my whole year of transformation, everybody thinks we have to run, right? You got to get on a treadmill and run. I never ran once. I never got on the treadmill to run. Now, I got on the treadmill and walked, and we did some hills and a lot of other things, but I did boxing, hot yoga, swimming, cycling. So I did a bunch of other stuff that I could physically do with my knees. So I think the two parts, Bruce, is A, I had enough, and then B, I was going to pass those injuries with doing the things that I was capable of doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think that's like, there's always something you can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's something that people don't realize, and they automatically come up with like, they get so stuck on they just can't do it.
Yep.
Instead of thinking about what they can do.
All right.
So you were able to lose all that weight in
1 year.
In 1 year.
With 2 bad knees, 2 shoulder injury, the whole works, and he was able to do that. So, like, put that in perspective, people out there. Like, we always have the sore knee, the torn meniscus. And Bob, let's talk about your training. Like, seriously, how bad did you just hate happening? Like, he couldn't run. He couldn't do anything but what? You could only get in the freaking pool. And you braced the suck.
Right. So initially, I mean, that's what I could do is I could lift upper body with my trainer, and I was blessed to have an awesome trainer. And Rachel, I know you're an awesome trainer. I've actually taken your cycle class before, and you're awesome. But I've worked with great trainers, and then I got in the pool and I just swam because I knew that, initially that's all I could do with lower body and cardio. And so, I just did what I knew that was going to help me, in the long term. Mm-hmm. Bigger picture, Bruce.
Yeah, bigger picture.
What is something that you would tell somebody out there who is really struggling right now? They're sitting there, they're with, an injury,
right,
and they're really wanting to reach a goal, but they just have no idea. Like, they're just stuck in that place. What would you tell them?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to create yourself with a great community. So one thing I had an awesome trainer, just like I mentioned, working with great trainers like you, having the ability to get on a bike and push myself, through that adversity. But I think you need to have a great community of people. And if you don't know how to work out, like, there's a lot of people that don't understand, like, weightlifting is so overwhelming, or getting back, off the sideline is so tough. I would get together with a trainer. I mean, I think that's so important, mm-hmm, that they can guide you and then kind of add that accountability as well. So, and also they'll help you be able to do things like, if you, like with me with an injured knee, well, I didn't do a lot of things, like lower body. I did a lot of upper body things, battle ropes and, boxing and things like that I did with my trainer. Mm-hmm. So I think getting a trainer on board is really important, and a trainer that understands the direction you want to go.
And that was awesome advice. And so getting an awesome group of people, a supporting group of people,
right,
and a trainer who can help you with modifications and,
right,
and guidance. As well, where does nutrition land in there?
Oh, it's number one. The first thing, so Bruce gets off the plane when we met yesterday, and the first thing we did is went and did meal prep. So I have a great big grill, and we cooked up with chicken, we had steaks, we had steak kebabs, and so asparagus. And so that meal prep is so important. So ultimately find out what works for you. So what works for me is having the ability to grill all my stuff out for 1 week. I throw in gallon-sized bags, and then I just heat them up. Okay. And so that works for me, but it's different for everybody else.
Yeah. What is what's your action item that you can give everybody out there into pushing forward tomorrow, and to getting out there and making it happen? Right.
Well, I can tell you this. So part of me being on the show on Extreme Weight Loss, they wanted me to do a 75-mile bike ride in Paris, France. And I started out that bike ride with 5 miles.
Yeah.
And then I ultimately kind of continue to work through it. And then ultimately I'm to the point where I did 450 miles 2 years ago in 7 days here in Colorado. And we climbed about 7 mountains. So I went from starting out at 5 miles to the point where I climbed 7 mountains and 450 miles.
Yeah.
So I would say just take it slow changes, continue to progress, and have a plan and a goal that goes along with that.
Just one more thing I want to finish with you.
Lay it on me, brother.
I want people to know too, like, what is the thing, the ultimate thing, and I think you already know this, that completely changed your life though? Like, what is that? Like, you know, because people are always asking their why, and you know the next word.
Right.
What is the most important thing though? Bingo.
So this on my arm, I had it tattooed, and it's integrity. And so when I'm making poor decisions, Bruce, and when I'm having those bad days where I want fast food and that food addict in me comes out, like I just go to this and I'm like, okay, I need to have integrity today. So that is a huge, huge reminder. Integrity to me is everything. That was taught to me by Chris and Heidi Powell, and I am so blessed that one word changed my life.
Yes, thank you. That gave me goosebumps, Bob. Just hearing it again, man. Just hearing it again. I mean, you've heard us talk on multiple of these things.
We're gonna do a
integrity.
whole podcast on integrity because that's how huge it is. Like that's. I mean, the guy has a tattoo on his arm. What else do we got to say?
Yeah, exactly.
So the action item for you guys was he couldn't have said it better when the minute he said he started at the 5, I was like, small steps.
Yep.
So, and that's what it's all about. You know, you may be thinking about that 75-mile bike ride, but it's all about taking those small steps. So if right now your small step is that you're going to get up off the couch and you're going to start walking, take that small step. If the goal is a 5K and you're not, you know, you're still sitting and you haven't started moving yet, then start walking and then add a little jogging. You know, we're going to go into that even more, but that was perfect. All right. Thanks, Bob.
Right,
awesome, Bob.
Thank you. Let's get pumped, Bruce.
Yeah. Pump my life.
Yeah, buddy.
There we go.